welcome to this Monday message. I'm Reverend Lisa Fox, the pastor of Dallas and Sand Hill United Methodist Church. If you are new, I invite you to like and subscribe to this channel so that you can be alerted to future messages. And once again, it is so good to spend this Monday with you. So as you see behind me, there are sunflowers that we have grown here at the parsonage. And we weren't sure if they were going to grow, but we're so glad that they did. Sunflowers are one of my favorite flowers. And did you know that sunflowers, they literally follow the sun? Just imagine a field of sunflowers and all of them following the sun at the same time. Like, what a beautiful picture of unity, right? Well, this Monday, I want to talk to you about following Jesus and the importance of keeping our eyes on the Son of God. Listen to what Hebrews chapter 12, verses 1 to 2 says. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles. Let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of faith. For the joy set before him, he endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. So this letter was written to Jewish Christians who were experiencing severe persecution. And this letter was intended to encourage them to endure, to persevere in the midst of persecution. And so for the early Christians, in order to do this well, in order to run this race well, they needed to follow the Son. In other words, the early Christians, they needed to fix their eyes on Jesus. And so do we. So do we. Listen to verse 2 again. Fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of faith. I know that some of you who are watching, you're exhausted. It's like you get over one problem and another one's already coming at you. You're just tired and you feel alone. Listen to what I've learned about sunflowers, that even on cloudy days when the sun cannot be seen, sunflowers still track the sun's path, regardless if the sun is shining through clouds or not. When life throws you a curveball, when life is not turning out the way you expected it, an illness in the family, loss of income, a pandemic, your children start acting goofy, keep your eyes on Jesus. Because the storms of life, they want to cloud our vision. But don't let that happen. Keep your eyes on Jesus. Just like the sunflowers on cloudy days, they still follow the sun. And so should we. We keep our eyes on Jesus. Why? Because the Bible says that God will keep us in perfect peace, those whose minds are steadfast, who trust in him. And we can trust in God, right? We can trust God. Why? Because we can trust someone who cares about our hearts. We can trust someone who died for us. Listen, I think God, he's looking for people who not just believe in him, but who trust in him. And we can trust God. Listen to verse 2 again. Fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of our faith. For the joy set before him, I love that. For the joy set before him, he endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. So what motivated Jesus to endure the cross? The shame, the death, the burial. What motivated Jesus to go through all of this? It was the joy that was set before him. And what is this joy? It's you. It's me. Like, let that sink in. Jesus didn't die for a building. Jesus died for people, his church. We are his joy. Now remember, this letter was written to Jewish Christians who were experiencing severe persecution, and we know what's behind the persecution of God's people. It's the power of darkness. It's Satan himself. And the enemy will do whatever it takes to stop the kingdom from growing. I believe in spiritual warfare. Having said that, I also believe that for us, American Christians, there are times when we are our own worst enemy. Listen to verse 1. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles. We can get easily distracted by the things of this world. And when we are distracted, our eyes are not on the perfecter of our faith. And as a result, we stop growing spiritually. Throw off everything that hinders. In other words, get rid of anything that's slowing you down on this race. And that could be many things. The things that we look at, the things that we think about, the things that we get into. Listen, if I'm not careful, if I don't have people in my life to keep me accountable, I can very quickly fill up my calendar. Busyness will slow down developing my relationship with my God. Throw off anything that's hindering you. And what else? And the sin that so easily entangles us. You know, sin keeps our eyes off of God and on self. Another word for sin is selfishness. Sin will slow us down. And listen, if we would close our eyes right now and we would pray to God to reveal what's slowing us down in our lives, the sin in our lives, it would be revealed like that. And listen, we know the sin that is slowing us down that we need to get rid of, because sin will slow down the spiritual process that's within us. And it's our choices, right? It's the choices that we make. Every day we make choices. And these choices will either draw us closer to God or away from loving God and loving his people. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of faith, for the joy that was set before him. He endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of God the Father. So Christians, if we want to run this race called life well, we need to keep our eyes on Jesus. Remember Peter, right? He's walking on water and he started to sink. Why? Because he took his eyes off of Jesus. Listen, I learned that even at night, sunflowers, they still face east. Even in the midst of darkness, sunflowers still face east, anticipating the sun's return. The Son of God will come again to judge the living and the dead. So my challenge for you this week is to keep your eyes on Jesus. And we do this by digging deeper and staying longer in the Word, staying longer in prayer, looking out to your neighbors to see how you can meet their needs, right? The church exists to meet the needs of humanity. And the greatest need of humanity is the need for Jesus. It's the need for Jesus. So I challenge you to fix your eyes on Jesus. Stay in the Word, stay in prayer, and look out. Look out to see who you can meet the needs of. Because when your eyes are on Christ, no matter what comes your way, you will be able to endure and you will finish this race well. So I love you, church, and I'll see you next Monday.